first question po, sir, what does values integration mean to you?
To me, values integration means teaching a company values, where these values is for personal development, spiritual development, and everything that will benefit the individual. Values integration to me is integrating these values in the teaching of mathematics, the development is a food that is academics.
Second question po will be, how important is values integration for you and your discipline, sir?
I do not know if to me, every teacher must consider if some development. So in the teaching learning process, we see to it that we don't only focus in the development of one aspect of personality. So for you to be assured that there is really impact learning, there is the effect of your teaching to your students. We don't be in the academic progress of the individual, but rather we look in how that individual deal with people and how that individual uses what he learned in dealing with people. So if you don't integrate values, if you don't teach your students on how to deal with people, I would say that are not fulfilling you as a teacher.
What are the values inherent in your discipline or subject area?
Critical thinking. Okay? It's critical thinking. Critical thinking, I mean, imagination, memorization, observation, invention, concentration, originality, reasoning, then problem solving. Those are the primary values that every teacher must develop to every learner in the teaching of mathematics.
What are the values that you frequently integrate to your lesson and what guides your decision in doing so? Yun po.
Well, I already mentioned that it's critical thinking that is in the teaching of mathematics. Because for personal values, as I told you, is also inherent, or it is also the responsibility of everybody, not only teachers, to teach personal values to any that. Okay? Even people who do not belong to our family, even who do not belong to our classes, it is our responsibility to teach them the right conduct. Now, in mathematics, it's the responsibility of math teachers develop this critical thinking if they are in your classes. If ever you cannot help the students develop this critical thinking, I would say it is a failure in the part of the teacher.
Next question po. Where do you usually integrate values in your lesson plan? So, saang part po ng lesson plan kayo nag-integrate? And how often do you integrate values in your lessons?
Critical thinking in the teaching of mathematics is integrated all throughout, not only at a certain part of the lesson. At the start of the lesson, you ask them, you pose a question that will make them think. Okay? At the start, in my teaching, I do question and answer. Okay? This is my practice in the teaching of mathematics or even in seminars. I give diagnostic tests, okay, for me to find out what they know and what they don't know. From the results of the diagnostic tests, I will be able to know where to start my delivery. Because if I start from what they know, they will get bored. They may not be interested in listen. Even in the classroom, I do that. When I enter the classroom and I meet the students for the first time, whether it is online or face-to-face, I usually use a question at the start.
What are the strategies or activities that you use or you recommend in effectively integrating values in mathematics?
And okay, question answer with regards to the concept, mathematical concept, and then I ask them in the development of the lesson. Once that the concept has been clarified, I ask them to solve exercises, and then after that, if they can solve exercises, I ask them to provide their own examples, provide their own items to find out if they really understood the lesson. And then after that, I ask them, I also provide them life questions, problems, where the context is about real life, where they can integrate the lesson that is taught. So we solve those problems, and then after which, I ask them to explain their computation and how they arrive at the correct answer. And then as their assignment, I usually ask them to make or to look similar problems. And these problems are to be solved by them and for them to realize further the application of the lesson that I told them, that I taught them. With that, if they can find or if they can make real life problems with the application or integration of the lesson that was presented to them, I would say that I am partially successful in the delivery of my lessons.
What are the most common challenges you face when integrating values in both face-to-face and online learning, and how do you deal with them po?
Common problem that I encounter to our math majors is the poor communication that they have in maths. And especially in algebra, in trigonometry, in geometry, I overhaul their learning. I overhaul their knowledge. Okay? Why am I doing this? Is it because at the beginning of the term, I give them a diagnostic test to find out how accurate their knowledge is. I give them diagnostic tests to find out if they have misconceptions about mathematics. And it is a very disappointing. It is disappointing in my part to know that their level of knowledge is, if I would rate their level of knowledge, especially on the accuracy of the concepts that they bring with them as they enter college, in a scale of 5, okay na kung nasa 2 sila. Mababa. That's why when I start teaching algebra, mga basic major courses, I start from elementary mathematics. I do not start immediately from the contents of my syllabus. I start from elementary mathematics because I need to change, I need to remove their misconceptions. I need to correct their misconceptions because it is difficult to teach higher mathematics if their foundation is full misconceptions. Ang challenge talaga sa akin is yun nga, to erase yung mga misconceptions nila.
How do you know if the value you want to instill in your student has been successfully instilled in them po?
Mathematics is not an opinionated subject. Hindi tulad sa values na relative. It's true that you have also principles, pero ang interpretation dun is can be divergent. Sa amin kasi dapat convergent, meaning iisa ang patutunguhan namin. Okay? Hindi kanya-kanyang personal opinion to. Hindi tulad sa social science na pwedeng iba-ibang opinions accepted yan. Sa mathematics, hindi kasi. Kaya yun ang mahirap. And then, aside from that, walang problema sa face-to-face sa akin. Ang problema is yung online. Especially, students commonly say, "Sir, pwede ba off-cam kami because magastos sa load, so I cannot see them while I'm presenting the lesson." Pag face-to-face, walang problema. I can easily monitor their participation, their involvement, their attendance, but in an online, mahirap i-monitor yung involvement nila, yung attentiveness nila, yung participation nila. And they commonly say, when I call their names to recite, they commonly say, "Sir, pakiulit yung tanong. Sir, choppy ka." Parang ganoon ang dahilan. Okay? But when I talk about mathematics, there is already integration of values developed. And no math teacher can escape from that responsibility. If you cannot develop critical thinking in the part of the students, I would say you are not performing your duty as a math teacher.
We're just curious lang din po. Have you ever attended the seminar or received a formal training on integrating values in mathematics po? If so, how has it been beneficial to you po?
Actually, I never attended a seminar with regards to the integration of values. And I think, sa akin lang, nobody can properly integrate values in the teaching of any subject, not only mathematics, if you do not know your subject matter. If you have limited knowledge about your subject matter, you may not know when to integrate, what value you are going to integrate, when to integrate, and how you are going to integrate. That's why the teaching of the integration of values does not need formal training. It depends on how competent the teacher is with regards to the topic he or she is going to present to the students.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much po. Aside po sa dapat mastery po sa content, from your observations po or experiences, what are other needs po na dapat alam ng teacher to effectively integrate values in their subjects?
Sa akin, kasi it is the competence. It is the depth and breadth of knowledge that the teacher should have. Yun ang number one factor. Okay, yun ang number one factor. Because you may not know what to say, You may not know what strategy in teaching you're going to apply. You may not know how to assess the knowledge the students gain from you if you have limited knowledge about your lesson. That is just in the content. How much more if talk about values integration. Kaya kung kulang ka, hindi lang ito sa mathematics, sa lahat ng subject areas. Kaya kung kulang ka sa kaalaman sa topic na ituturo mo, you may not know where to start. You may not know how to start. You may not know how to proceed. You may not know how to assess. And you may not know how to end or where to end your lesson.
So thank you so much, sir. For the last question na po, the Republic Act number 11476, also known as Good Manners, Right Conduct, and Values Education Act, shall be integrated into the teaching of subjects under the K-12 basic education curriculum. So what are your thoughts on this legislation po?
When we were in the elementary school, when I was still a student, we had that subject, which is scheduled early morning. And I do not know why it was removed in the curriculum that replaced our curriculum before. And the effect of removing that subject in our curriculum is the deteriorating behavior of students. Walang values ang may estudyante. Hindi magandang values ng estudyante ngayon. Dapat ibalik yung good manners and right conduct. Kasi if we that emphasize manners and right conduct, we will never prosper. We will never be successful to become a good nation. To become a good nation, we can never be a nation of people if we don't have manners and right conduct. Katulad yung one, yung what you call this, authority ng teacher sa classroom, dapat ibalik din. Ibalik in the sense na the more na binibigyan ng pribilehiyo ang estudyante, sobrang pribilehiyo ang binibigyan sa mga estudyante. Nadideprive ang mga teacher sa classroom. Kaya tignan nyo, ang mga estudyante sa eskwelahan, sinasagot ang teacher kahit estudyante ang may kapagkakamali. It should not be. One-sided ang mga policies na kaya maraming teachers na nade-demoralize, maalis sa Pilipinas, nagpupunta sa ibang lugar because teachers in the country are deprived. Kaya sa akin, ibalik yung manners and right conduct. Yun lang.
Thank you so much, Sir Marquez. Again po, we would like to express our greatest gratitude to you. And because po, you have made us realize the importance of integrating values in mathematics subject, and that it is really possible. So once again, thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Wala na?
Okay na po. Thank you po, sir.
Okay, sige.
Sir.
Okay, sige. Good night. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Ingat po.
Sige.